Hello and welcome to a...
Mute on the Google.
Ah,
Why has this suddenly become a problem?
I don't know. Hello and welcome to another episode of Lexx Education. It's the comedy science podcast where a comedian, that's me, Laura Lexx, tries to learn science from her non-comedian but brilliant younger brother, Ron.
Yeah.
Hi, Ron.
It's Ron. Hello. How's
Just
it going?
before I hit record, Ron said, your eyes look piggy and what? Swollen. Worn.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, guess who's ill again?
Fuck.
I know. Honestly, it's the genuinely worst thing about having a child. Like, the early mornings are one thing, the whatever, it's all... There's downsides, but the worst thing is I have never been so consistently ill.
Yeah, the toddler flu is real.
Yeah. And it's like, there's no way to talk about it without just seeming super hack, because the stuff they do is so unbelievably ridiculous. Like, she will turn her face towards me to sneeze directly into my mouth and things like that. And you're just like, you say it and it sounds like you're being some sort of like 90s comedian writing stuff about parenting, but it's true.
Yeah. I guess that's why it's successful as a form of comedy, because children are quite universal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, like, we even look at like gorillas with their kids, and there's stuff that you go, oh yeah, my kids do that.
So yeah, I'm ill again, but hey, at least I don't have to go to Shrewsbury and back this evening. Oh wait, I do.
Yeah.
Talk for a second, Ron. I got to blow my nose.
Yeah, you complain a lot about life choices nobody asked you to make. Oh no, I've got my dream job and my dream child. I'm a comedian. I've got a lovely
My
little
dream job
girl.
is not driving. Yeah, I love the gigging, Ron. I love the gigging.
You also like the driving.
Yeah, that's true.
You like being alone with an audiobook, eating snacks in plastic wrappers.
Ron, I ate so many snacks and plastic wrappers this weekend. I also
You
love
like
plating.
bags of Marks and Spencer's crisps.
Yeah.
You like your encyclopedic knowledge of the service stations of this nation.
I
And
gigged
you
with
like
a comic
the
called Danny
gigs.
McLaughlin on this weekend when I was in Manchester, and he and I had a lovely chat. We went to get our cars out of the car park at the back of the club, and there was an arrest happening in the one-way street outside the car park, so we were just stuck for a while until they finished that up. What the hell's happening with my hair? Like a parakeet. Why has that gone something about Mary all of a sudden? And we got chatting about
It's not snot, is it?
Could be anything, Ron. Oh my God, did I tell you? I did tell you about Mackie, didn't I?
Yeah, that she lost some more teeth.
Yeah, but they were baby teeth.
Yeah, we did this in, I think, chemistry 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's coming out in a couple of weeks. Anyway, we got chatting and I found someone else, Ron, that agrees with me that T-Bay and Gloucester are the worst services, not the best, as the stupid general public would have you believe. And
Is Gloucester the really bougie one?
Yes.
In the southwest? Yeah.
Not interested.
No, it's not what you want.
No.
Like,
And it closes at like 4 p.m. A service station. If I'm Prime Minister tomorrow, and I'm sure I've said this before on the pod, don't care, will repeat myself. My first law that I would pass would be all service stations, in order to keep their license, or whatever it is that they have to stop me burning them down, they have to have a hot food and a hot drink counter manned by at least 2 humans 24 hours a day. Otherwise, they are not a service station.
what happens to them if they're not service stations?
I will burn them down.
Right, everywhere that's not a service station gets burned down.
No, just things purporting to be a service station on the motorway.
Sure.
If you've got one of those motorway places, they absolutely have to have hot food, hot drink, 24 hours a day.
Here's what they also need to have. Fruities, for no particular reason. They also need to have cages of tat. You know how there's always like a pillow in the shape of an armadillo for some reason.
Yeah,
but,
and a camping
specifically,
chair.
so many of them, they're in a cage.
Yeah. I think they already have those things, Ron.
But no, I mean, to be classed as a service station is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm adding to the legislation.
Gloucester and T-Bay can absolutely fuck off. Anyway, welcome to the show. Announcements on the agenda for today. The Leicester
Big
Live
announcement
show.
from Ron. I finally got Battle for Middle-earth 2 downloaded onto my laptop. I'll see you in the Discord after this comes out to discuss, because what a fucking game.
You had a successful Lord of the Rings night last night then. How did your cherry tomatoes go?
It was good. Max found it very, very funny.
Good.
And he did not guess what I was cooking. And then we finished it. And then I was really sad that we finished it, because we've been watching them. Like, it's taken us like 2 months, maybe 6 weeks, to watch them all. And I always feel like watching Lord of the Rings around Christmas. And then the last one is so long that it does feel like a bit of a slog when you get to the end of it. So then I was really nostalgic. And then I was like, I'm going to download that game. And then I had to download a virtual machine onto my laptop so I could run Windows 11 on my MacBook. Then I had to download the game.
So when you said you didn't want to play Plates last night because it was a bit late for you, actually you were just playing a different game.
It was too late to be social for me. And then also I got caught up in this. I thought it'd be a lot quicker than it was. Then you have to get around the fact that you don't have a disc. I had to, at one point, go into the settings of a .exe file and change the emulation stuff to get it to work. I felt so much like Mr. Robot. It was great.
Yeah, you're in hackers now.
Yeah. So see you on the Discord. Anyone else that's... Oh, I also started a group message
or normal
with...
socials. If you're not in the Discord and you just want to chat on the normal socials.
But I'm not on the normal socials.
No, but I will screenshot your comments and send them to Ron.
Okay. And I'll tell Laura what to reply.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of which...
No, or join the Discord. No, we need more chatter publicly. Do this on normal socials.
I mean, do we want money more than chatter? Because they'd have to pay to join the Discord.
Do you have to pay to be in the Discord?
Yeah, it's one of the Patreon perks.
Oh, then
it's
come to the
£3
Discord.
A month.
Yeah.
I did want to say thank you to Iklamore Batat on Facebook, who commented that a friend recommended Lexx Education to them, and they said, I adore it and have recommended it to my retired science teacher mum for if she ever feels nostalgic. Mum, do you miss hanging out with assholes that aren't listening to you? Here you go. But I loved that comment. Thank you. More stuff like that is great. I'm going to be honest. Since Christmas, it's been a bit of an onslaught of, just being shouted at on social media. So anything nice is always appreciated. Ron, I'm pretty sure it was you, but someone commented on one of my videos the other day, tell the dirty witch to shut the fuck up. And it felt so much like a Lexx Education insult, but it was meant meanly. But that's the kind of stuff that I get daily in my inbox. So if ever you want to change that with something kind, I'm always here for it, guys.
Yeah, this is why I do this, to prepare you for the world outside.
Yeah. Anyway, actual announcements, Ron's gaming aside, Leicester Live show is this weekend.
The people that know will know how much of an announcement that is.
It's a big announcement, but please stop interrupting the Leicester Live show that we need people to buy tickets for. It's Sunday afternoon at 4.
You can't even get that game on Steam at the moment.
Wow.
They stopped making the discs, and CDs are hitting the point where they've started failing. So you hang on to your physical media, guys.
If you've hit the point where you're listening to this the week it's released and you don't have plans on Sunday, let's face it, you can get yourself to Leicester for 4 p.m. It's at the Black Horse in Ayleston, just outside Leicester City Centre. So, what's that? You don't like city centres? Don't worry, we don't put our show in one.
Talk to me about Battle for Middle-earth 2 there.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it in Leicester.
There is a big Lab Rap meetup as well. So if you've been a little keen to make friends with other listeners but too shy to reach out, or you wanted to come to the show alone, but obviously don't want to go alone, you feel like you'll be weird if you're alone, come. You won't be weird. It's the nicest place in the world. It's a great venue. You'll love the people that run the bar. Then all the lab rats will be there. They're fantastic. We'll be there with our history of Leicester science and the sort of fact. I should do some work on that, actually. The show will be ready by the time you see it. And then just a quick reminder that next week is Valentine's Day. We've been very romantic and we've done an entire episode about STIs. So you'll enjoy that. Sibling duo chatting sex problems. What more could you want on the most romantic week of the year? But for right now, it's our fantastic graduation episode where we properly dismantle, shut down and say goodbye to GCSE. All right. Ron, thank you for agreeing to this episode. I just thought it was important because I feel like when we've done the results, we've been so tired and just sort of done with recording by the end of it that I don't think we've actually given a minute to finish GCSE.
Yeah, 6 exams was a lot. And
It was a lot.
Each one was like a 2.5 hour record. Which,
Yeah,
that's like,
it was a whole ton, and we'd get to the end, kind of work out what we'd got, and then we'd just move on. And so I felt like it was important to just say goodbye to GCSE and everything we've done before we dive headlong into A level.
Yeah, I think the other problem is that we're both nerdily excited to get started with A level as well.
I miss lessons. I've been trying to think to myself. So here's my conundrum at the moment, Ron. I was trying to work out also a couple of goals for A level. Obviously, stop eating. That's our main goal. Be professional podcasters with no eating. Obviously, cull the amount of pets that are in the room while we're recording. And then a couple of my other notes, I was like, we have to remember to actually do the separate syllabuses. Syllabubs?
There's no such thing as a combined
Great.
for
then that's
A
that one.
level, so that's fine, yeah.
And then my other thing was, Ron, I was like, should I do my notes on the computer this time? Pros, searchable, which is something I wanted a lot. Cons, typing's quite noisy while recording. Also, I've been sitting on this notebook that I got from one of the lab rats a million years ago that I've never got around to using. And I was like, this could be my A-level notebook. Thank you, Catherine, for the notebook. Should I use this? But then I was like, but do I want... Because a lot of my gel pens aren't working anymore. They've dried out due to old age because this podcast's been going on for so fucking long. Should I use this for my new project, the Comedy Bureau, and sort of have a little Lexx Ed crossover into my new project and do my notes on the computer? What do we think?
So you're going to be doing a lot more drawing at A level. So I think it has to stay paper-based.
Okay. Do you think it should stay A4 paper, though? Because that's my other
I
worry.
think take that red one to your other project.
I'm going to take this one to the Comedy Bureau then and have a little bit of Lexx education in the Comedy Bureau.
Yeah, and then... Because Lexx education should carry you everywhere in life.
Yeah.
And then, you'll need another A4 guy for
this.
Yeah. So
in
later...
which case, the hunt is on for the new notepad.
So I'm also... So what I wanted to bring to the professional podcasting, as well as all of the audio things that you've just said there, is also I wanted to plan ahead this year. How long this is going to take us? 3 years. I wanted to plan ahead these 3 years.
I mean, minimum, because it's been 2.5 years doing GCSE.
Yeah, but
and we've got to recover most of GCSE.
Yeah,
and do A level.
I'm interested to see how quickly we get through it, because while the topics are a lot more intense, AS level, which we'll obviously do first, only goes on for a year, so it is squeezed into less time. So we'll see. It'll be fun.
Yeah. All right then. Well, I'm going to put that on my list of things to do then. I need to find a new A4 notepad, which seemed mad given the number of notepads that I have in my life. But hey, we all love a notepad.
I think what you should do as well is periodic table poster. Get that on the wall.
Oh, okay. I'm supposed to be redecorating my office in the next few months. Maybe I should paint it on.
That would be cool. Have I told you about my latest tattoo idea?
Oh, please don't get the periodic table tattooed on you.
No. I I thought it'd be really funny to have like a useful tattoo. And I I was cooking the other day, and every single time I'm cooking and an American recipe comes up, I have to look at like how many grams are in a cup and stuff like that. So I
Yeah.
was thinking about just getting a little conversion chart tattooed on my arm, so that I could just like look at my arm and go, oh, okay, yeah, 236 mil, whatever it is, and then I can do my measurements and stuff. You could do the same with a periodic table.
I don't want a periodic table tattooed on me. What I'd actually find more useful would be to have what the hell a fucking mole is.
Yeah, let's get the physics
12
equation sheet
grams of-
tattooed on you.
Carbon 12 or whatever it was. Is that right? 12 grams of carbon 12?
Yeah.
Yes, look at me learn.
Was it like 6.036 times 10 to the 36 or something like that?
Yeah, let's get that tattooed where our eyebrows should be. And then, if you're ever desperate to know what a mole is, you have to shave your eyebrow off to find the equation.
But cute idea, right? So I think I'd get like cups, ounces, and definitely Fahrenheit to Celsius on there.
Yeah, Fahrenheit to Celsius would be great. Do you know what I might get is the timings change when you're converting oven cooking timings to air fryer.
Yeah, that's a good one. But yeah, I thought the idea of just a useful tattoo would be really funny.
Yeah.
You know, like, or if you lived in London, you could get the tube map, something like that.
Yeah. I like the idea of that one.
Mm.
What my most useful thing would be? What am I always looking up? It's food for thought. Anyway, Ron. Oh, I tell you what I could have done with for these exams was their AQA conversion charts thing. Let's start with the results, shall we? Before we get into reminiscence and signing each other's shirts and stuff like that.
Yep.
Let's get into reminiscing. Let's get into the results. So I went through all of the exams just to consolidate what we got there. So for foundation...
No, take it again.
Without the burp?
Yep.
Okay. For foundation, I got 73 out of 100 in biology.
That's
76.
3/4, basically.
Yeah. 76 out of 100 in chemistry. That's just over 3/4. And 76 out of 100 for physics.
Oh, I thought you got more for physics than the other two.
Well, this is going off your numbers, so maybe I did, and I found that spreadsheet absolutely impenetrable.
It wasn't intended to ever go back to be honest.
No, that's fine. In all of those cases, I was off the scale of what you could get at foundation level.
Yeah.
So those were above the top tier.
You are not foundation, we found out.
No. So I got 5s across the board in foundation. Then we moved up to higher to see what happened there. And the numbers dropped. So I got 50 out of 100 for biology, 54 out of 100 for chemistry, and 50 out of 100 for physics, which meant that from getting 5s across the board on foundation, I actually managed to get 6s on biology and chemistry. I stayed on a 5 in physics. That one must have had a steeper grading curve. But it was making me think last night while I was looking at this, that it's interesting then what teachers must have to go through to decide which exam a kid is going to do, because literally like the same level of intelligence did get a better grade on higher tier there, except for physics, which stayed the same.
Yeah, because talking to you, you've got lower tier, like written through you like Brighton Rock, but actually the higher tier exam in class probably would have been the one for you.
Yeah, well, based on that, yeah, I did manage to scrape a slightly better grade. Except for physics, which I swear when we were doing the quizzes, I generally did better on physics than on biology and chemistry.
Yeah, well, I think that's usually because physics is maths and concrete little jib-jabby answers, whereas with biology and chemistry, there's a lot more explain. And
it was perhaps not a windy day.
Yeah, and while I think what you're really good at is, I don't think you're necessarily bad at understanding the concepts, but I think explaining them in kind of exam terminology is not your forte.
No. I don't
So that's why you
speak
do.
highfalutin.
That's why you did well in the quizzes, and then just that higher tier physics one. You ran out of time and you had to start skipping questions.
Yeah.
But that's what I found really interesting about going through the exams is like I was so like, you know, when I was doing exams I was so stressed, and you know, like if there was like a 1 mark, a little jibby jabby answer and I didn't know it, that would really stress me out. And like there were whole questions you didn't answer in that physics exam and you still got the highest grade you could from the foundation one.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot more room for error than you think.
Do they have foundation and higher tier in A level?
No.
No, so it's just a oneer.
Yeah, because you choose to be there. So
Yeah, that's true. What was I going to say? So overall, chemistry was my best subject in the exams.
that's baffling.
Yeah, because it's the one I don't like physics, but I did better on the quizzes, and I like the biology, but never did very well on it. Chemistry was an absolute middling bit of junk, but it was my best subject.
Yeah, I think it's because you've got a sort of almost druidistic way of understanding biology, where you just think of the flim flams flowing into the bibbly bips. So you get it, you understand sort of the forces at work, but just naming them and describing them is not your forte.
No, the actual nuts and bolts of the potato pie run away from my tongue.
The meat and veg of the potato podcast.
That's it, something like that.
Yeah.
Meat and bones of the potato podcast. I can do it too. Yeah, so there we go. That was the results roundup.
Because I was going to do the same thing and then realised that you were already doing it. Did you get that spreadsheet of like how everyone did?
What do you mean how
Hang
everyone
on.
did?
So, what did you say you got for biology? You got a 6.
6 on higher, 5 on foundation.
Okay, so we'll go with a 6 then, because you...
Yeah.
So with biology, 62.7% of people got a 6 or lower. No, 6 or higher.
Okay.
So yeah, only 12.5% got a 9, which is the highest you could get. So so it's about 21% of people that took that exam got a 6 for biology. So you're in big company there.
Yeah.
Chemistry 62%. So and then 14% of people got the top mark in chemistry. So lots of people found chemistry slightly easier.
Maybe it was a slightly easier paper this year.
I mean, I've just got the results from 2024, whereas we did a sort of smattering of the exams. So, and then physics.
Oh yeah, I've graded these on 2024, so they might not be totally accurate.
Interesting. Physics, interestingly, the people found easier than biology as well, which you didn't. So it's 63% of people got a 6 or higher. Oh no, but you got a 5. 80% of people got a 5 or higher for physics. Yeah.
I bet they didn't sit theirs whilst the examiner ate an entire trifle on the 3rd consecutive night of doing it, though.
Well, I didn't eat a trifle the second exam, Laura, so you can't blame me for that one.
Do you know what?
You actually did very well when I was eating the trifle.
Yeah,
it was the
that's true.
trifle-less exam that let you down.
I was going through the lesson plan spreader yesterday. I've been trying to catch up on my Lexx Ed admin now that we're coming to the end of this. And I was like catching up on edits and then getting a bit of planning in. And do you know what's coming round a lot quicker than anybody wants to do? It's the fucking Eggathon, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's like 3 months away from release date for the Eggathon the day we're recording this. So we need to sort of, we're maybe 2 months off recording that.
Yeah. Well,
That's going to be the thing, because I always feel quite lucky in my life that, when people say, oh, time speeds up as you get older, I don't feel like that. I feel like years are really long and they're fine. They're the perfect amount. Time goes exactly as it.
especially when they're punctuated by egg.
That Eggathons race around. I swear there's 2 Eggathons a year.
Yeah, I liked the combative Eggathon when we did the quizzes about each other's lives. I think we should do
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, I liked the chocolate versus egg world.
I would rather eat all egg than have that potent brew in my tummy again.
What I was thinking of, I keep seeing recipes at the moment for tea-stained eggs. Maybe we should try a new type of egg.
Ooh, yeah, why don't we do a cooking element and we just prepare elaborate eggs beforehand and then we eat delicious eggs?
No, it has to be dreadful. Otherwise, the last few years were for nothing.
Yeah, that's true.
It doesn't mean they can't be tea-stained.
Or no, soy cured is the one that I've seen, like in soy sauce.
Oh, that sounds good.
Anyway.
Right, so back to today's episode. So then, Ron, I went through...
Does the Eggathon fit within the ethos of a professional podcast?
I think so, because I think if we're honest with ourselves, while we are going to go big profesh, there's a large swathe of the listenership that's not here for the professionalism or the science. So I think if we also remove the eggs, what are we even providing?
We just want to fart less on mic. That's...
and burp.
It's mainly burps.
No, do you know what it is for me? It's like getting food out of the teeth noises. That's what I want to be gone. Also, I'm doing really well on my rule of not eating near my new laptop.
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
I'm doing last night on the train I was eating crisps and then I did some typing. I looked at the keyboard and I was like, oh, it's oily, put the crisps away. And I was like, no.
This is my first proper record on my new laptop as well.
It's so quiet, Ron.
Can't hear a peep. It's so nice, and I'm using it for the video as well. Didn't even have to muck about with my phone.
Delicious. Eggs are essential, Ron. We can't cut the eggathon. That would be ridiculous. I went through every single episode that we have produced, and I pulled out a selection of my favourite titles, Ron. Now,
can I do a couple of mine? I haven't looked, but just the ones that I really remember really liking.
I'm interested to see whether the ones that come off the top of your head match any of the ones that I have put on my list. I've got 5.
I really liked the first Halloween one we did, which I believe was called Jumble Frog.
Yes. Yeah, that didn't make my list, but yes, I do remember it.
I really enjoyed Ink on a Beetle's Feet.
Oh, that was such a cutting insult.
A very potato salad kind of person.
Oh, well, it's funny you should mention that one, Ron, because that's come up in my memorable moments from the podcast, shaming me for liking potato salad.
I didn't.
Which now, every time I eat potato salad, I think about you being horrible to me about that.
I didn't shame you for it. I just said that scans.
Yeah, and that has got an element of shame to it. Like, you would eat pale potatoes in pale mayonnaise and call it a meal. You pale woman.
Yeah. It's such a sort of pallid, sort of stodgy dish.
Just because you hate potatoes, though. You're the only person on this island that has this vendetta against potatoes.
Oh, it's just... When you were a kid, did your heart not sink when a meal was prepared and just a couple of boiled baby potatoes were lumped on the side of it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I still won't eat new potatoes for that reason. But I think because my main food childhood nemesis was minced meat, that came up much more often in my life.
No, a mashed potato is gack. Jacket potatoes, also terrible.
But jacket potatoes I don't mind because you used to get lots of bowls of fillings.
Yeah, and honestly, give me a bowl of beans, tuna and cheese and I'm there.
Yeah, but then you haven't got the filling bit, Ron.
No, but honestly, give me beans, tuna and cheese on rice or pasta.
Ugh. You can't have a pile of rice with tuna, mayo, beans and cheese on it. That is disgusting.
I would rather eat that than a jacket potato.
Oh, next time you stay at my house, I'm going to serve that up. Any more memorable titles, Ron?
No, none that are jumping to mind. So I'm just going to have a scroll while you say your 5.
What are you scrolling?
The list of titles.
No, join in and laugh at my list.
No, I will.
Okay, so one of my early ones The cesium the daisium.
Oh, yeah, and that's a classic moment when we'd riffing those puns.
Yeah, an early day. We still had the whole periodic table to play off. I think it's great.
High
Book of
tummy
Moron.
pressure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Book of Moron.
That's good. That's when you started the idea that we were going to do a musical.
Yeah, and it was with reference to my notebook, which I think I floated auctioning off at some point, and you said who would want to buy the Book of Moron or something along those lines.
Yeah, I'm quick.
Yeah. Classic TV hag.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That's there in my list. Then
Garbanzo beans.
Yeah, garbanzo beans nearly made my list. Did that make that list? I had 2 lists. Yeah, that nearly did make my list. But in the end, I went for Life's Hard for the Slags.
Yeah, I also really remember the socials you did for that. It was like, it's Slags Week, everybody. That really made me laugh.
Yeah, I'm going to get back on doing socials. And then my final one, throw a bunch of pubes on the last baby born.
Yeah, that's very us.
Yeah, because I was looking back at the titles and like, really, towards the beginning, they're so much more science related. You can really tell what we were studying and stuff. You know, you've got Macbeth, Blood Factory in a Bone Cave, Atoms Are Always Never Alone, Mitochondria featuring Hadaway. Like, we were so focused.
A lot of plants are outside.
Gravity is not an emotion.
Lexx.
Valve slap. And a pig in an airbed. That one nearly made my list, but I was like, I distinctly remember what we're talking about.
Yeah,
that is an episode about hearts.
That's what I was thinking going through these. There are loads that are completely indecipherable, but like the second paella calculation. No, I know that we're at the festival. We're walking to some paella. We're talking about vectors.
Yeah.
Lexx Boggle.
Well, Lexx Boggle has made my list of memorable moments, which we're just going to have to pause while I just run to the bathroom for a urination. Bear with. Oh, just caught my funny bone on my tray. Ow.
On your tray?
Yeah, well, Tom bought me a mug warmer for Christmas.
Ooh.
This little guy here that sort of electronically heats the mug.
Oh, I need
so,
that.
My plan is I make a little teapot of tea and leave that on the mug warmer. And then I can drink a whole pot at good temp while I'm up here.
You should knit yourself a cozy.
Yeah, that's what I'm planning to do. Because this teapot is it's like a taller shape. It's not a round fatty. It's like a big hisey. So,
Bernard Cribbins. Cribbins call. That was a moment.
I was looking at that, and I was also, because what did we have? There was Big Bean Energy, and then later on, Bean comes up again, and then I think we did a Patreon episode all about Mr. Bean.
Means nothing, adds nothing, and isn't funny. I don't know what I'm talking
That's
about.
you telling me that I'm not allowed to say anything.
Endless salt
I never
pork.
went to candle school. Yeah, frothy for Bean, that's it. So a couple of weeks apart there, we had Big Bean Energy and then frothy for Bean. We were clearly just stuck on Bean for a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing a re-listen at the moment, picking up stuff. Life's hard for the slags. There it is. Picking up stuff to use for the D&D campaign, so that I can start, drop in nice little references and stuff. And it's been nice. I'm only on like episode 4 or 5 or something, but.
But that's the thing, and that's why I think I'm quite excited to get into A-level, was looking back at these early episodes and being like, you were really trying to teach me. I'm really interested in how I could learn it. And I feel like some of that falls away as the hatred grows. But I'm looking forward to getting back to that.
I think I think what we almost need to do during A-level is have a couple of extended breaks like you do at school. And just be like, do you know what? We're taking a month off from lessons so that we like to break up the slog and then try and keep that energy going through more of the lessons.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. Interesting note. I'm gonna put that in the A-level goals.
Like maybe every summer we do a month of no lessons,
Oh.
like a summer holiday. Like, cause obviously we got that over Christmas and stuff, but yeah, just so that we're never like, oh, we've been doing 2 years of continuous lessons.
Yeah. Where we go and help our parents get the harvest in.
Or as more realistic in our family, put a bathroom up.
Okay, Ron. I tried to think about the science that I could remember.
Okay. Well, like top 5 concepts that you've got down.
I came up with 4.
Oh no.
Some of them are the same. So bonds are interesting. I like bonds.
Right, rattle them off.
Covalent, ionic, metallic.
What's a covalent bond?
Where 2 things share an electron.
They share a pair of electrons. What type of thing is made via covalent bonds?
Ions.
Nope.
That's ionic bonding. Covalent makes acids?
Molecules.
Molecules. Molecules make a covalent bond.
No, covalent bonds make a molecule.
Covalent bonds make a molecule.
What type of atoms form covalent bonds?
Non-metals.
There we go. All right.
Yes.
Ionic?
Ionic is when someone steals an electron,
Or
loses an electron.
what atoms form ionic bonds?
Metals.
No, because that would be metallic bonding, wouldn't it?
Oh. I don't know.
Well, if covalent is non-metals and metallic is metals.
Others.
No.
Gases.
No.
What can you be if you're not a metal or a non-metal?
It's between 2 things, isn't it?
Oh, a metal and a non-metal.
There we go. Yeah. All right, strike that one from the list.
No, I like bonds. Bonds are interesting. I like the electrons on the bus. I think that was very helpful.
The shells.
No, the electrons like to all have their own double seat to themselves, but then they will pair up.
That was a
when
useful
all of the
metaphor.
single seats are taken.
Yeah.
The plum pudding. Love a bit of plum pudding.
I feel like plum pudding came up in every fucking exam we did, and it's such a weird one for them to harp on about so much because it's not real.
Yeah. Gold foil, Rutherford. Loving that.
Yeah.
That's all in.
That's like the first or second chemistry episode.
Yeah, that stuff really stuck.
What we found with you is we filled the cup pretty quick and then it runneth over for like 2 years.
So what I need to do for A-level is to put the cup in a bucket.
Yes.
Yeah. Carol in the Discord reminded me of another interesting bit about wood melting, not burning.
Yeah, I couldn't remember exactly what that was about.
No, but it sounds good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Does wood technically melt?
I thought that was bullshit.
Oh, well, it's there then. And then my final thing that I've really enjoyed learning is how candles work.
Yeah, because you didn't know that.
No, and that is just great to know.
I think one of my favourite things about doing this podcast with you is just learning all of the bits of life around you that you've just been treating as if magic. And not, it's just been like, yeah, that just happens, doesn't it?
Yeah, but call it magic, call it science. The same processes. Who cares if it's magic or science?
No,
Science is magic.
But I just find it interesting that you didn't have any, that you never were like, oh, how does a candle work?
Well, because I thought I knew the wick is burning and the wax is protecting the wick from burning too quickly.
No. Yeah, fun, isn't it?
I just thought I knew that. That's like me saying to you, like, oh, you've never thought about how a bus works. And you're like, well, I know there's an engine in there and a driver. And then me going like, no, it's actually that the wheels have got hamsters in them.
Yeah, see, that would be magic if there were hamsters in them. That's Flintstones logic.
So that's all the science that's gone in. then, Ron, I've listed off my favourite memorable moments. So it's sort of like my top episodes, but really the things that stand out for me. I think Boggle was a turning point.
That was a descent into madness.
The day we just played Boggle, I think that was the day Tom really despaired of our endeavour. Tom hates this podcast and us, and he cannot fathom for the life of him why anybody would ever listen to it. And I think the day we just played Boggle instead of doing anything useful, I think just opened the door for a lot more freedom for us.
Yeah, that was quite early on in the dark summer, wasn't it?
That was in the dark heartbreak summer, yeah.
Yeah.
I was getting used to being a mother, you were getting used to be unlovable, and Boggle was really the plaster that we needed.
Yeah. Boggle's a good pick-me-up for us because we are inhumanly good at Boggle.
But, I don't have Boggle anymore.
No, you should get it. We need it in both houses.
Yeah. I'll put that on the list for A-level. Purchase Boggle.
Felt Boggle set for podcasting.
Yeah. Maybe that should be one of our summer holiday episodes.
We'll make that a Patreon goal. If we get 250 subscribers, we'll get a felt Boggle.
Do you know what? Speaking of summer holidays, Ron, I'm doing the Edinburgh Festival this year. You should come up for a few days and we should do Lexx Ed Live in Edinburgh.
Oh, yes, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
I love Edinburgh.
Well, I'm going this year. So Boggle, that's on my memorable moments. Shaming me for liking potato salad stands out quite a lot. Obviously, honourable mention goes to the Tricot. Tricot had to be in top 5 memorable moments. It came up a lot when I asked everybody on socials what they thought of the podcast and their favourite moments. The Tricot came up a lot.
Yeah. Tricot was a perfect idea. And I remember I had it, and then friend of the podcast, Noah, he was the Iago on my shoulder as we went through the tricoting. And then, especially the first one, because you weren't expecting it at all. Why would you be?
Yeah.
And then, made you do a quiz, and we waited a week. Oh, yeah. I loved the first Tricot.
Yeah, the first Tricot was top arseholery. Then...
Were you expecting the second one?
What was the second one? Was that the live show?
Yeah.
No, because it was a live show, so I was busy and in the moment.
But were you expecting another one to happen that year?
Yeah, I think we had chatted about it, hadn't we? Because you were like, I'll get you again. And I was like, you won't.
Mm.
And I think
did.
I got suspicious about a few other things.
Yeah.
Moles the redo special.
That stands out to me as an amazing moment.
Yeah, that's up there. So we'd covered moles. It hadn't gone particularly well. One of us lost the recording.
You.
In a bit of a screw up, and we had to re-record it. It was just after New Year, wasn't it? It was like New Year's Day or something. And it should have been quite quick to just sort it all out, and instead it took us about 3 hours to get through it.
Well, it's because usually when we're doing a bit of inside baseball, when we're doing just like a teachy lesson, I will prepare, a set amount of notes, and I'll usually do a little bit too much, more than I think we'll actually get through, so that we've got good content, and then we'll get to 45 minutes to an hour in, be like, okay, let's leave it there, and then we'll do the quiz next week. This was back in the day when we used to be 10, 12 episodes ahead. So by the time we realised we had an issue with the moles episode, we'd already recorded the episode afterwards, which meant we were in the unique position where there was a set amount of content that we physically had to cover to bridge between one chemistry lesson and the next. And despite it being the second time Laura had gone through it in 2 months, for some reason the concepts would not enter your head.
Oh, God.
And they still
we
don't.
were
Moles you
livid
really
with each
struggle
other.
with.
Yeah, moles. Because I think I. Oh, and that's classic TV Hag was the Moles redo
Yeah.
special. Yeah, it went out on the 2nd of January. So, and I think we were recording it like up to the minute. I don't know. I think because I don't really understand why I need to know about moles. I don't understand why it's useful.
Converts things from grams to atoms.
Yeah, and that doesn't seem helpful. So it refuses to stay in my brain as a matter of principle. So that's coming in silver positioning. And then, honestly, Ron, my number one golden moment of this podcast was making reindeer fly.
That was a lovely episode.
I think that's my favourite episode. If I had to boil it down to one, gun to my head, what's my favourite episode? I think it's making the reindeer fly. It was really fun, lots of science, just brilliant. I loved that episode.
Yeah, a lot of the holiday ones have been particularly nice because we're on the same side.
Very Pregnant Love Island. That was good fun.
That was a freakish one.
Yeah, the Grinch this year. I really enjoyed that. I like those like hypothetical science, cryptozoology sort of world ones. They're really good.
Yeah, those are always super fun. Just
like learning.
They let us lean into
Frog?
the whimsy. Yeah, that was the
Yeah.
one where we did like Frankenstein and stuff.
Yeah, Jumble. Yeah, and resuscitation, like learning about that and like when humans discovered we could resuscitate people and things. That was fascinating.
Yeah, I'll do a couple of highlights from the Patreon then over the last couple of years.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a bit of recency bias around it, but our Christmas party 2024 was super nice.
And that's now in the calendar as a Rego event.
Yeah. I also Two Crimes and a Lie with Sister Meg. That was
second
super
recording
fun.
is in the calendar now.
Some of our birthday episodes have been really nice. Specifically, loved the Bob Dylan one for me and the Housewives one for you.
Yeah.
Those were super, super fun.
Have you watched any more Housewives since, Ron?
No, when I see you at some point, I'd happily watch more Potomac, but it's not
We
something
need to
I
get
dip
some
into on my
Potomac
own.
on.
Yeah. I'll tell you one that I really loved from Main Feed when we did our super gay episode, queer science and queer scientists from history. That was a really, really nice one.
Yeah. Obviously, my Patreon favourites are a little bit skewed towards Boy and Sea because
you're obsessed with it.
Because it's so good. But I love the Class Clown episodes. Those are really good. We should get another one of those in soon.
Yeah, I love the Class Clown. That was when that's just a really nice one for roles reversed. I think we're very into the content on that, which is also a good sort of shift of gears.
Yeah. Oh, I'll put that one in there. Okay, and then, all right, that's in the list now. So, those are my favourite moments. Right, now, let's turn to what the listeners said their favourite moments were. There's a lot of doubling up, so apologies if I don't mention your name, but I did read every comment we got. First bit that had a lot of love was Down.
Yeah.
I think that was when the first spoke fell off the first wheel.
Second Physics, I believe.
Yeah. I really enjoyed Sarah on Facebook saying she still mutters down to herself in moments of panic.
Yeah, that was early on. We were blessed to have a nice core group of listeners early on, and then Down just really set the scale for what was about to happen. And that's still when we were relatively professional. You know, that's in a pre-Boggle world.
Oh, 100%.
We weren't
that
eating in those
episode
days.
6.
Yeah, we weren't eating in those days. We weren't fucking around that much.
Down? It made merch, you know? Episode 6 is producing merch. It's a good start for the poddo. Jenny C and Jenny O both said Down, and The Sun whose name I get told often, but because it's written down as the Sun in Discord, that's who you are now. Sorry about that, the Sun. Stephen brought up some bits. Totipotent, which I'd utterly forgotten about.
Totipotent, yeah.
Totipotent, yeah.
That was early on as well.
That's a cell that can become anything.
Yes. It's a stem cell that has the capacity to become any type of cell.
Yeah. Stephen also brought up something which nearly made my list of memorable moments, which is Run Cap and endless salt pork.
Run Cap and his lovely daughters, I think, is a part of that canon.
Now they have to be in the D&D, surely.
Oh, Run Cap showing up.
I should have been Run Cap. Maybe that should be my character.
I mean, we've got a chance to. We're going to redo the.
Yeah, maybe I should be Run Cap. Just obsessed with salt pork. Andrew actually fascinated me because he said vectors and paella was his favourite moment because that was the first episode he ever listened to. And stayed, Ron. And stayed. Can you imagine hearing that and going, yes, I have found my people, I'm in?
Yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah.
That I remember that episode as well because, you know, the amount of sort of like when I'm doing the prep, it's all in the syllabus, and sometimes just because life, and I do have a 9 to 5 that I do around this, sometimes I can do more prep than others, and that was one where I'd done like a decent amount of prep, and I'd come up with this little scenario that we were going to learn about vectors, and I think that's why that ends up getting so heated, is because then when I've put in a lot of prep, and then you go no. That's when I then get frustrated and we have a fight.
Yeah. I should re-listen to that one, I think. Kay and Carol both said the moon.
Yeah. I mean, the moon's a really personal thing for you. So
the moon knows about me.
I'm not.
That's a quote that comes up a lot. I think that would be a good hat merch. The moon knows about me, ?
Yeah.
I'm sat here actually staring at my Lexx Ed mug that were made by Carol earlier, and the moon knows about me is on the front of it. I'm thinking, I don't care, Ron, down. We haven't covered this. All some early quotes.
The one that came up in the Discord when you asked for this, that is one of my catchphrases that I haven't said in ages, is don't just say things.
Yeah.
I think that will come back when we get into lessons.
Yeah, don't just say things was early merch. Early merch. Mystic likes the weird songs. The Mackie song particularly, and a shout out for From the Organelles to the Mountains of Peru.
That's lesson 1.
Was it?
Yeah.
Whoa, early doors. Also a shout out for me being an inventor as a theme that keeps coming back.
Laura, we can do my retrospective bit. I wanted to do a retrospective of Laura the inventor.
Yay!
Laura's invented one thing since we've been doing the podcast. Laura invented an apple sorter. So what I did was I went online and I saw how the big boys sort their apples. So, Laura, imagine this. We've got like a crate of apples.
Mm-hmm.
They go up a conveyor belt for some reason that's made of little rollers.
Okay.
It was really confusing to look at. Then they drop onto a little slidey thing that's kind of like a conveyor belt made of lots of small buckets. Before they go through that, they went through a funnel that gets them to be single file. And literally in this 1.5 minute video that I watched, they got all blocked up in the funnel and someone had to come over and unplug it. So you're winning on that. I'd have refilmed it, personally, if it were me. Yeah, then all the apples went under like a car wash brush.
Spraying them with all those pesticides that Joni Mitchell's not into.
Maybe, but the brush wasn't spinning, and surely the apples are only getting brushed on one side.
Yeah, the side that you see in the shop. Maybe it's to make them shiny, look tasty.
Maybe. Then they were electronically weighed, And then there's a conveyor belt made of little tippy buckets, and then when they get to the bucket that corresponds with that apple's weight, it goes whoop and tips them into the bucket.
There seems like there's a lot of tipping and falling going on a very delicate fruit.
Yeah, they were being a bit rough with the apples, to be honest. Also, it seemed. Let me find this video because.
So what you're saying is I have invented a better apple sorter than the big boys. Granny Smith ain't got nothing on me.
I'll be really honest with you, Laura. I wasn't impressed with this. Right. Let me ping this to you. We'll watch it at the same time. Because, yeah, I wasn't impressed with this. And honestly, it seemed so long. Say when you're about to press play.
All right, I'm watching. Yeah, it's going up some rubber rollers.
Yeah, interesting. And look,
it does make the apples look excited to be there.
Yeah, they are jumping about. But why the rollers? Like, because they're typically...
Yeah, the apples are rolling back down the slope.
Yeah, which is odd, isn't it?
Oh, it's got big end of Toy Story 3 energy, though, with all these nervous apples heading towards their fate.
Then they get to the top, and then there's a flat bit of roller avenue for some reason.
Yeah, okay.
See a big bruise on that one. Here we go. Here it goes into the little funnel on their little trampoline. Yeah,
and that's where they've got blocked.
Instantly blocked. Here comes in someone.
Goes under the buffer.
And then it goes into the sortie bit. But
with, like, chicken feet printed on them. Okay, so then they get weighed.
Here's the scale, yeah.
Oh, and then they get spat out at the right thing. Well, that's a clever bit of programming.
Yeah, but it seems super long, right? Why is it going through, like, apart from this bit with the scales and the buckets, why is it going through all of that? Because,
yeah, I don't know.
Because that car wash brush... if you look at the description to the video, it says can work with washing, drying, waxing machine. So that brush isn't applying anything. The waxing happens in a different machine entirely.
I'd reverse the bays because the majority of these apples are going right to the end of the bay.
Yeah.
Maybe didn't fit any of the categories. Wait, is this another apple sorting machine? This is a 14-minute video about apple sorting.
The Espamac Awita?
Yeah.
Maybe we should do a Patreon ep on apple sort.
Maybe we should do a Patreon ep where I have to make my invention and we try it. Whoa, crates of apples. All right, I'm gonna... Oh no, I've skipped the video. Anyway, yeah, all right, I'll put it on the Patreon list. So yes, being an inventor. Haley said the tricot. Kazoam said mainly in it for the dumb bins energy. The insults are what they're here for.
I haven't called you a dumb bins in a hot minute.
No. Well, I think we haven't been doing so many insults during the exams.
I've tried to be generally supportive during the exams.
Yeah, I think they will come back, you know. They wanted a supercut of all the insults, which I quite frankly just did not have time to do.
There's hundreds of hours of this podcast.
Yeah. Catherine, Rusty Sugar.
Rusty Sugar's a good bit of business.
Did we ever get round to doing a Patreon on bayous?
No.
We should do that. Jules said dead air.
Dead air.
Dead air.
But that's funny because that's a Always Sunny in Philadelphia quote.
And we love that show. Neil reminded me of a quote that I do actually love, which is, I haven't got any thoughts. I'm trying to find fucking bromide on the periodic table. Thank you, Neil, for reminding me of that.
The only podcast, guys, where that's going to be said.
And then Mike and most people, to be fair, said that actually their very favourite thing about the podcast is the community. So Stephen sort of has ended up living with a lab rat and the community of people. I think Mike in particular said doesn't really care for the science one bit. And even more than being able to listen to the podcast, opening his phone and knowing that the Discord is there has been just a tonic, because it is sort of like a social media forum where you know there's not going to be arseholes, which has been lovely.
Yeah, and it's not all podcast stuff in there either. There's a channel for just talking about games, talking about pets.
Yeah.
There's a safe space for if you're feeling down.
Yeah. Mike mentioned the appearance of Charlotte the podcast in the world, the reappearance of Judith, and the answers to the silent questions everybody had been silently asking. But pretty much everybody said about the community. So that is really, really
And lots of
lovely.
people just said about vibes as well, which was nice.
It's just nice vibes. So much more of that coming into A-level. Goodbye GCSEs.
Speaking of, Laura, do you want to hear what we're going to be covering in AS level specifically?
Yes.
Because we do AS and then we do A level. So we're going to split it into bio. Actually, that's actually a good point by Ron. I was saying that AS only goes on for a year. It does only go on for a year, but it's 3 courses of a year that we're doing. So
yeah, because you would only do like AS biology, wouldn't you?
Some people, yeah. I mean, I did all 3 plus further maths, but
yeah, but it was 3 separate yearly courses.
Exactly, yeah. So there actually will be loads of content. So yeah, we're going to do biology and chemistry and physics again. Obviously, we'll keep doing them in the same order, I think. But what we might do to be a bit more professional and help your learning, I'll bring up later once we've run through stuff. So for biology, I am so excited for the AS biology course because it's basically exclusively the stuff that I like to talk about.
Ooh.
So we're going to do
which generally is the stuff I'm interested in too, I think.
Well, and I think because I can answer questions confidently and get passionate about it, I think it does give some of the best content and learning, which is nice. But yeah, we're going to go through biological molecules. So that's going to be learning about monomers and polymers and DNA and proteins and fats and stuff like that. Lots of drawing molecules and learning the structures of them, which is fun. And I think getting into that stuff and some of the chemistry bits that we'll talk about in a sec, you'll start to see the bit of it that I really, really enjoy. Then we'll go through cells, which
I like cells.
yeah, it won't be like, it's going to be everything that we learnt before, but at a more granular level and more of it. So like before we learnt about mitochondria and stuff, we're going to learn about the structure of a mitochondria, and some of the other organelles that we didn't go into, things like the Golgi apparatus. We'll find out what that does. Stuff,
cool.
Things like this, the RER and the ER and things like this. Then a whole section on exchange, how organisms exchange substances in their environment. So we've talked about exchange surfaces before, things like how much surface area is in your lungs and stuff like that. We're doing a whole section on that, and it's going to be exchange surfaces and then basically transport of molecules within an organism. So active transport, xylem and phloem, root hair cells and things like this. Interesting. And then a whole section on genetic information, variation, DNA, and all of that shit. How DNA is replicated, how cells replicate, how DNA makes proteins. Super fun stuff. I'm so excited for biology AS level.
Okay.
You seem
I feel
stressed.
a little overwhelmed hearing that, but I started picturing in my head going to Churchill Square tomorrow and finding a notepad and some new pens.
Beautiful. Then chemistry is split into 3 main things. Physical chemistry. So we're going to get into atomic structure and bonding and the energetics of atoms again. And again, that one is going to be building a lot on previous knowledge. A lot of that we'll already know, but we'll go into more detail. And I think what will help with you with a lot of this stuff is in GCSE, you go through a lot of it and you just learn a thing, and then basically the answer of why is because I said so, I'll tell you later. In AS level and A level, you find out so much of the why, of like, why does that happen? And then you'll explain the mechanics of, okay, so if you've got a pair of negatively charged electrons here and they're pulling things towards them, and then that makes this and blah, 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 blah. You learn a lot of that logic bit, which would be helpful. Then inorganic chemistry. One of those concepts is called periodicity. We'll learn about that. That's a really important one. And then we'll learn about Group 2 and Group 7 again. We already kind of did Group 7, but we'll go into more detail. Group 2 is the one next to lithium and potassium, the ones that we've already done. That's like magnesium and barium and things. We'll just learn about that group of atoms. And then 3.3 is organic chemistry, which is basically the study of carbon. And we'll learn about a bunch of different molecules there. That's one of my favourite bits of science, organic chemistry. So we'll learn that, which will be very, very nice. And what I'm thinking about doing, I need to have a scan through the syllabus a bit, but it might make sense to do the organic chemistry before we do biological molecules. Because all biological molecules are organic chemistry. So it might make sense to learn how organic chemistry works and then learn how biological molecules are made of organic chemistry. And then, Laura, in physics, first thing on the list, measurements and their errors.
0 error!
Yeah!
Yay! Okay, Ron, I think that's enough of a peek behind the curtain. We don't want to get our powder too wet before the battle.
You want me to stop just one into physics having run through everything else?
Yeah, because if I'm honest, I stopped listening a while ago.
Oh.
Well, Ron, we've got Valentine's episode next week, and then it's the big launch into A-level.
Bloody hell.
And what are we doing for Valentine's, Ron? Sexually transmitted diseases, because it's the 14th of February, so everybody got a fuck.
I wrote an essay about chlamydia at university.
Did you then send it via WhatsApp to a woman that you hate?
No.
How dare you,
I didn't get
Jezebel.
laid at university.
No, I know. I remember. You were at my house watching Parks and Rec. Okay. All right, Ron. Good work. There we go, Ron. That's it. We did that with aplomb. I'm really glad we did this episode because listening back to the exams, I was like, man, we just get tired and end the episode. But I'm glad that we gave it its due.
Yeah, I think I said this but just the exams felt like they were going on forever.
Yeah.
And it's nice to be out of that.
Yeah. So we have some questions we need feedback on. How would you feel about a summer holiday element? You know, if we took a month of specials or just a little break from lessons, what do you think? How do you feel about the episodes that aren't lessons? Not that you can probably remember what a lesson feels like because it has been months, but we've actually done 2, haven't we, Ron? We're 2 lessons deep now.
Yes. Yeah, and honestly, the way I feel going back into it with a break makes me think that the summer holiday is a good thing.
Yeah.
And I think wait until you hear those episodes maybe before having too much of a comment on that.
We also want to know, would you come to Lexx Ed Live in Edinburgh? Are you going to be at the Edinburgh Festival? Would that be something you'd be interested in? We're just sort of throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks as to whether it's feasible to do it. But are you going to be there? Would you come? Let us know. And should we get some kind of useful tattoo? If you were going to get a science tattoo, what would you get?
The other thing that I was thinking about also getting on mine is the temperatures that meat needs to be cooked to.
Oh, yeah.
For my thermometer.
We're cool people. Old Lang Syne for the register today.
Yeah, because it's the end of it.
Oh. Did you just burp in the middle of it? Or was that some deep voice?
That was some deep voice.
Oh, right.
GCSE.
A big thank you to Olivia Hope for signing up to the Patreon. We really appreciate the support and genuinely, every listener counts. If we lose even a single patron, who knows what the future of this podcast would be? I thought that was if we lose even a single patron, who knows what the future of this podcast would be like. We've got some that have the sight. Listen up, Olivia. We know you're a friend of younger sister of the podcast and Patreon sensation Meg, and we know that you only signed up to watch her episode, probably won't hear this and will probably cancel at the end of the month, but know that there is a heavy cost to that cancellation. Child of the podcast will have no shoes for hip hop class. Husband of the podcast will go even hungrier than he already is, and Ron will be fine. Thanks for signing
Thank
up, Olivia.
you.
We appreciate the £2.45 we get from you after the Patreon cut.
Massive cut they take.
Yeah.
They've got server costs.
But listen, we don't want the rigmarole of sorting it all out, so
No, can you imagine chasing everyone up for a direct debit every month?
of £3. Fuck that. What we need, Ron, is just sponsorship, and then we wouldn't have to do any of this.
But we didn't. We said no to those dildo purveyors.
And we haven't made a mainstream hit that everybody's into. So, fuck it. It's your money we need.
Yes.
Sign up to the Patreon. Get access to the Discord. Get all of our bonus episodes. Get all sorts of stuff.
Here's the thing, guys. Either everyone give us £3, or between the lot of you, look for some sort of wealthy benefactor. If you could just get
one big patron.
Yeah, one big patron. That would also work for us.
Yeah, can anybody convince who's a rich person? Oh, would we want to be in the thrall to a rich person?
No, they'd be like the person that owns The Guardian. You know, like they pay for it, but it's all chill.
Yeah, but The Guardian has its problems.
Yeah, The Guardian does, but I don't think they come from that guy.
Oh, okay.
It's my understanding of it. Might be completely wrong. But more just like, you know, like...
Find us a benign Rupert Murdoch, please, listeners. That's
Better
your homework for the week.
Yeah, find us a series of one big patron.
Or like
so
Gillian
that if
Anderson.
we piss... Yeah.
Does anybody know Gillian Anderson? Is she interested in funding our podcast?
The hunt for Gillian begins.
Thanks for listening. See you next week.
I genuinely don't know how to end this one. This one just ends.
Mortars down?
No, this one just ends.
No, Ron, no. What?
No, it's the majestic silence before the rise of a new dawn.
But it's not, though, because we've got Valentine's episode. So it's a majestic silence before we talk dick for an hour.
All right, fannies up.